Welcome to the Undercovers cast. I'm Ben, and tonight we got our whole entire regular crew here. Last week, I know we were down Jen on the week before. We were missing Tommy, but we got everyone back coming off of a big W. We'll also be joined by a guest later to preview the Dolphins game. But guys, how we feeling about that commanding 34-point win against Washington Sunday?
It's a
That
feel.
was
It's
Go ahead.
just love our defensive performance, man. Like the whole defense was feasting in that game, Ben. It was magical. 9.5. What do we have? 9.5 sacks
About 9 sacks.
or 9 sacks. Four. What do we have? We had forced fumble. 4 pick. Was it 4 picks?
4 interceptions, yeah, so 5 total turnovers.
And everybody was hyping up, the commander saying, "Oh, they have this hype offense, and with Howell, like he's gonna throw it all over us," and we shut him down. It was amazing.
Perfect defensive game plan. I think it was perfect. I mean, the first drive got me worried just a second or two, like why aren't we like pressuring Howell? But our front four got there and they did an awesome job. I mean, Terrell Bernard. I mean,
Ooh.
could we possibly have two all-pro linebackers just lined up together next to each other? Just think of that, and just think that how many people actually were sleeping on Bernard. I was like, who knows? Like, I didn't know who Bernard was until he stepped onto the field. So I'm like, okay, let's see what you got. And he came out last week. It was just a perfect performance by the Bills defense. Offense, I still think there's some things that has to be worked out, but defensively, I think it was like a flawless defensive game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was stoked. The defense has been playing very solid for the past 2 weeks, but that was the first time where we really took over a game. And to be honest, we took over the game versus the Raiders, but it was just the first drive we let up a touchdown, so that was disappointing. But to have an interception on the first drive versus the Commanders was really nice. And coming off of 2 back-to-back sacks and then having an interception, that just really set the tone for the entire game, holding them to 0 points for the entire game until they decided to kick their pitiful field goal to add points onto the board.
Yeah.
That was pretty special. And Terrell Bernard, I think he's a player that will be talked about more this season. Each game, I think we're gonna see a special play that he has compared to Tremaine Edmonds, who was quiet for multiple games. Maybe had a nice tackle for loss every now and then, or a pass defense. But Terrell having 2 picks in back-to-back games, 2 sacks in this past game with the interception.
Yeah.
Getting Defensive Player of the Week.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are going to open their eyes. And, there's some people that are overlooking him this upcoming week for the matchup that we're going to have in week 4. And they're kind of focusing on one other player on the defense. So it's really exciting having 2 great cover linebackers when we've been searching for that in Tremaine Edmonds. He just hasn't given that to us.
Yep.
We learned some things about this defense that we've been searching for all offseason. But there's actually still some questions about the offense that I think we can all agree on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Terrell Bernard has been phenomenal through these first 3 games. And when you have a former linebacker who can blitz, he can cover, a former safety I mean, he is a linebacker, but when you have a former converted safety playing a linebacker, I mean, he's got a lot of those elite coverage skills that you would want from a safety. We saw in that interception. I don't know if Tremaine Edmonds has ever made a play like that in his career. I mean, I know he may not have to reach up like that because, I mean, he obviously has the height advantage over Bernard. But, I mean, Bernard, I mean, just from the broadcast, I didn't think he had any chance of intercepting that, and he just like jumped up and grabbed that thing. And not only is he great in coverage, but I mean his pass rushing skills are phenomenal. I mean he had 2 sacks Sunday, and I think going forward, you got to watch out for him just rushing the passer, because as we've seen through these first 3 games, I know the Bills. Um, if you look at like the graphs, it shows that they don't really blitz a lot, but what they'll do is they'll disguise the pressure. They'll still end up sending 4, so it's still, yeah, it's not a blitz because they're not sending extra guys, but they may send in Milano, and then they'll have like Rousseau drop back into his zone and cover or something like that. So through these first 3 games, we've just seen a very dynamic and confusing defense for opposing offenses. Like they really have only given up. I mean, the last 2 weeks they've given up 13 points combined, and in that Jets game, I mean, I don't know how many you can even really credit to the defense allowing, because I
It
mean,
was 16.
yeah, but I mean, between the special teams touchdown and all
Yeah.
those turnovers, like how many of
Right.
those it was really the Jets going coast to coast. I mean, maybe they gave up a couple field goals, but I mean, really the touchdown drive, the late field goal, it was all because of a shorter field due to the turnovers. But how about that? The Bills' offensive line through 3 games. That was one of the biggest question marks entering the season, and so many fans made it in importance to protect Josh just on Twitter and everything. And even before the season, there were still fans who weren't completely comfortable with maybe the tackle situation or whatnot, but Spencer Brown has been really, really solid, and he's faced some good pass rushers. Connor McGovern, he may be the Bills' best offensive lineman besides Deion Dawkins this season. How big of a pickup has he been? But I mean, this offensive line through 3 games has really, they faced some good pass rushers, and they've passed all those tests. They're like number 3
Mhm.
in like the I think pass ranking at 2 in the run ranking, right?
Yeah.
In the pass ranking, they're 3. In the run ranking, they're around 8.
Okay, so okay, maybe I was off on the run, but
But-
still, I mean, from where we were a year ago, all we go, like, right before the season, all we said and asked for was competent offensive line play. Like we
Yep.
wanted average anywhere from like, I don't know, 15 to 16th best in the league. But if the Bills are gonna have like a top 10, top 5 offensive line, I mean, how good can this offense end up being this season?
Yeah, it's wonderful to see. It gives me more ease. I'm not watching the game. I'm like, oh my goodness, Josh Allen has 2 bloody elbows and like 3 scratches on his knee after a football game, and just like sitting here watching, it's like I feel less stress. Josh Allen's able to go through his progressions a little bit more. He's able to sit in the pocket. He's able to use his arm rather than have to move, even though he's electric when he runs 20 yards the other way, then throws a laser to Diggs like he did against the Commanders. That what makes him dangerous. But what makes him even more dangerous is for him just to sit in the pocket and just use his bazooka and just throw it into tight spaces. And it's really want to piggyback off what Ben, you were saying. We're 32nd in blitz rate, but we're first in sack rate. It's just like, is this the stat that you just look at and you're just like, am I reading this correctly? But you are, because the Bills been wanting a good front 4 for a while, and the Bills have finally unlocked that door, and they finally have it. And we're speaking about a front 4 that is lethal without Von Miller in the lineup.
How about a healthy Ed Oliver, man? He's wrecking that whole line.
Top 10 in pressures.
Yeah, like I mean, are we seeing a different Ed Oliver from the past? I think we are. I think the man is coming out to ball this year.
Yeah,
I think he's out to prove why he got that extension.
He had an interview today, little locker room interview. He said like, when I'm healthy, like
Oh,
I'm an effing problem or something
Yeah.
like that. Like
He
I'm not
is.
he
good.
really is. He is.
I mean, that's a great point, Jenna. And Tommy, just to kind of follow up on what you're saying. I mean, we saw last year, week 1, before he got hurt, he had what, 2 sacks in that Rams game, like into the third quarter when he got that high ankle sprain. And we've seen flashes of dominance from Ed Oliver, but he's never really had like a consistent defensive line around him. You know, Mario Addison, Jerry Hughes, Quentin Jefferson, etc. around him. But now that he has Daquan Jones, Leonard Floyd,
Yeah.
Rousseau, who's coming into his own. I mean, does Rousseau even have a sack this season? But he is like, he's got one, but he's got so many pressures this season. Like he's
Yeah.
always around the football, collapsing the pocket. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the interception to was it Hyde that Rousseau deflected, or was it last week to Bernardi that he deflected, or was it both?
He deflected. He tipped a pass that was intercepted by Bernard last week.
Okay, that's right.
And it was AJ Epinesa who got in his face with him. AJ Epinesa.
Okay, that's right.
Got in his face and threw it.
That's right.
And I was gonna say, then you got Leonard Floyd too, Ben. I mean,
oh my gosh, Floyd has probably been one of the best offseason pickups. He's got 3.5 sacks already.
Yeah.
But even going back to Epinesa, like Epinesa is like a difference maker, and I know one of his biggest criticisms was his missed tackle rate. But from what I've seen this season, like he hasn't really missed any tackles and gotten lost. Like his pursuit angles are a lot better. I know he had the sack late in the game, but that interception, that was just a spectacular play. Like he's really coming to his own as a quality, player on that defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, like imagine having AJ Epinesa drop into coverage and pick you off and go and run for 6. Like that's just nasty. So
he's like a freight train in the open field. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm really glad that he's doing well. And then Von Miller's coming back in a couple weeks.
Von gets back with this D line. I mean, it's gonna be nasty.
Oh, it's going to. And how good is Daquan Jones? Like he's really the unsung hero. Like, I believe he had 5 pressures on Sunday. Him and Ed Oliver are just a 2-man wrecking crew on the interior. They're great against the run. They destroy the pockets, and honestly, I know we haven't really flipped the page yet, but when you're going up against a quarterback who likes to get rid of the ball fast, and in a timing offense, it's really important to collapse that pocket and get pressure right into his face immediately. That's going to put him off platform. And we've never really seen, what Tua can do off platform. So that's, once we get into that game. But, I mean, again, back to that defensive line, 9 sacks. The pressure has really always been there. I mean, even in the Raiders game, I know they didn't have a single sack, but Jimmy G doesn't take sacks. I mean, he always he has one of the highest release points in the league. But what those pressures did is they still created turnovers because Jimmy was forced to throw a couple of checkdowns, which resulted in interceptions last week. So yes, while we didn't have the sacks last week, they're still creating turnovers, and this week, we reap the benefits even more on defense with the turnovers. 5 turnovers. And that's something that I like from the Sean McDermott defense so far versus the Frazier defense. And Leslie Frazier's defense, it seemed like if the Bills were to get a turnover, it really was because of either A, their defense making a really, really spectacular play, or B, maybe the opposing quarterback just did a dumb decision or whatever. But they never really it really was just a simple result of the play coming to them versus now they're the ones creating the turnovers. They're forcing the quarterbacks to get rid of the ball quick because there's 4 or 5 guys in their face. And and you even look at the linebackers. I mean, I know Tremaine was very good, but and it's not just the linebackers; it's the whole defense in my eyes. But just when someone has the ball and there's a ball carrier in open space, it seems like there's 4 or 5 guys always there
Yeah.
hitting them hard. Like the yards after catch aren't there. The Bills haven't allowed the big plays, like 2 offensive touchdowns, and I don't know how many drives so far. Over 30 defensive drives. So, I mean, the only team to allow less first downs defensively is Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just look at this defense. I mean, I just the thought just came to my head while I was watching the Commanders game. I mean, it's just a thought that I just you just kind of thinking like could this actually be something that the Bills actually wanted to do, is kind of rely more on their defense to help with their offense. Like good defense, it seems like with this team, is leading to more productive offense. It puts less pressure on Josh Allen to play hero ball rather than puts less pressure on Josh to play hero ball. If the defense can hold up and get pressure like we've been wanting them to do, the front four get pressure, and we don't want to blitz, but like we need that front four to do its job, and the front four, it's doing its job, and then they're forcing the turnovers. Like they're not waiting for that one mistake from the quarterback, like you said, Ben, like that, waiting for that one mistake to happen, and then you get the ball. Like they're forcing these to happen. They're forcing these turnovers. They're wanting to get the turnovers, and I think this defense is leading to the more productive offense, and I think that's what the Bills wanted to do. They wanted to rely more on their defense than their offense.
Another unsung hero, Trey White. I think he's back, y'all. He had that awesome pick in the end zone. I'm like,
oh my god, I
didn't
like
even
he got the interception. I'm like, okay, like let's go. Trey got an interception, and then I took a closer look. I'm like, Trey got an interception. Like holy crap!
Yeah,
like that was athletic.
Happy to see him going. I think that was big for our defense. That pick.
It wasn't.
And
it wasn't like a regular interception. It was like in a tight window making that play. Like he was in there. Like he was in the right place at the right time. But he was in.
Say hi.
You see the kitty?
See the kitty?
Oh, hello.
Sorry. My nephew wanted to say hi.
Come on, Kaden.
You're good.
All right.
I mean, we always get visitors, including Jenna's cat. So
yeah. I love the cat.
Visitors.
Love that we got the visitor for the cat too.
Chilling.
But like back to the point of Trey White, I mean, he just forced his will. I mean, for that football, and that's something we really didn't see much of Trey White do last year. But like Trey White being there, forcing his will and getting that football, that's the old Trey White we've loved and enjoyed.
Yep.
Micah Hyde made a vintage interception as well. That was a really good play. I mean, that was thanks to the AJ the AJ pressure. It was like a Hawkeye assist type deal.
Right.
Between AJ getting the pressure and then Micah ending up getting the interception. And
yeah,
I think the more pressure we get, the more turnovers we're gonna create. Like, I mean,
I agree.
I really am seeing a different style of defense, because when was the last time we forced 5 turnovers in a game? Like, I don't know if we've ever done it under Sean McDermott. Like, I'm being completely honest. Like, I'm trying to think back. Maybe against the Jets, right? Was that in the Mike White game? I know he threw like 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
But like I mean, even like during the regular season, like I would say we probably normally rank more middle of the pack as far as interceptions go. By teams. I know for sack wise, we've never really been. I don't even know if we've been in the top 5 as a defense under McDermott. But I mean, that being said, with with Frazier calling the defense, I think part of the influence, or at least like last year's defense, I don't really know how much influence Sean McDermott really had. Obviously, he would have had some being the head coach, but now that he's the one really calling the plays, and it seems like we're not as much of a simple, cover two style defense that we were under Leslie Frazier. I mean, I expect the sacks to increase too, because if you look at Sean McDermott historically, he's always had some of the highest sack teams in the league. Because I remember back when we had Mario Williams in the day, our defense and Carolina's defense were competing at the end of the year for the most sacks in the league. And I think we ended up finishing number 2 in 2013. And I think 2014, we ended up as number 1. But for Sean McDermott defense, you normally would expect sacks. And I mean, we've seen that through 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I think this defense, I know it's early, but I believe the Sean McDermott effect is real through 3 weeks.
And it is very real. Teams should be afraid. It's very real.
All right, guys. No, that's it for the Bills Commanders overview. Next, we're going to be talking Bills Dolphins, the vaunted matchup that we have on Sunday. We have a special guest here today, and I want to welcome Connor.
What's up, y'all?
What's up, Connor?
Hello.
What's up, Connor.
How's it going, man?
Pretty freaking good. How about y'all?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Y'all don't have good entrapments on your dolphin enclosures. You just let one out. All right. I tell y'all what, this game coming up, I have so many things that I could say about this team, about your team as well. But last week, I can't get over what I saw from the Dolphins. And I don't think the league looked at it for maybe 30 seconds. And then all of a sudden, Taylor Swift caught the eye of everybody and everybody forgot.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're just sitting there going, we've put up 35 points in a half, and Denver doesn't even look like they're trying. Mind you all, this is the 6th most expensive defense in the league in Denver. They've got Pat Surtain II, who is a pretty solid corner. I mean, he has shut down many a good wide receiver. They've got, I know I was thinking of, no, they don't have Shelby Harris anymore. I think he got traded to Seattle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They have Frank Clark. They have
Randy Gregory. I know Justin Simmons was out that game.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he is one of the better safeties in the league, but I don't think a safety can make up a 50-point difference. I mean, just talk about when I saw the score at halftime, I was like, wait, 35-13? Like, damn, is Denver even trying? I mean, I didn't really watch much other than the highlights, but I mean, even in the highlights, I mean, it looked like, honestly, like it was almost like a walkthrough, and it was like Denver was just like out there to get reps or just to get some cardio.
It looked like a man score. That's all I'm gonna say.
It literally was. I mean, Miami in that game has more yards of offense than the Jets do on the season. Like,
Can we all just laugh at the Broncos for that pitiful performance? Like, after you guys took Vic Fangio, I mean, you didn't take Vic Fangio from them because he took the year off. Oh, wait, did he take the year off?
Yeah, he took the year off and then came back as an advisory consultant for the Eagles in their Super Bowl.
So that was like a revenge game for him.
It was.
Just to let off all his frustrations.
It was also a revenge game for Bradley Chubb.
True. Yeah. Did he have a sack in that game?
No.
Oh, unfortunate.
He showed up and he showed out, though. He is one of the best. I like to say he gets the best pressure rate out of pretty much anybody on the Dolphins.
He does. He does get a good pressure rate, actually.
The minute the quarterback drops in the pocket, whether this season it has been Russell Wilson, whether it's been Matt Jones, or whether it has been Justin Herbert, he's there. And if you don't get the ball out, he's there.
Right.
Or he's there. Your offensive lineman is so scared of Bradley Chubb that Christian Wilkins comes out of literal nowhere. And now I know y'all over there in Bills Mafia really don't like Christian Wilkins. We know. We
But there's
hear.
specific reasons
Here's-
why.
Listen about this. Josh Allen actually loves Christian Wilkins. He said that he's got a lot of love for him. So there's
Mhm.
that. And they were both exchanging like gratitude toward each other.
Mhm.
Both saying that they love each other. Oh, he yawned, big yawn. Yeah. My cat likes to hang out right here. Hey, stop it.
Yes, we know, Jenna. But yeah, and Christian Wilkins was live with the media earlier yesterday. He said the same thing. Said he's got a lot of love for Josh Allen. And I wish I would have saved it, but even Tua had a lot of really good things to say about Josh Allen during their practice sessions today.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has given the Bills as a team the respect that they're due. And then off in the corner, there's Tyreek Hill. Do I need to tell y'all about the fuel he's giving your team? Because he's giving you bulletin board material.
I mean, the man is coming out and saying he wants to be a porn star when he retires. Like he's
I mean,
he's
is
giving
it
us
too?
a lot of like
I
funny.
don't want to say he's going down the AB path now, like, but
It's
if he
getting
keeps
close.
going, like,
I don't. He
he's-
won't end his career the
until
way that
he-
AB
yeah.
went out.
until he runs off MetLife, shirtless and throws his uniform into the stands, like he's not quite on AB levels, but yeah, Tyreek.
Oh,
But
God.
I mean, if all things, all jokes aside, whatever, like Tyreek is such a crazy talent, and like he really changes how you have to defend. And I mean, I'm going to be interested to see how the Bills play this matchup, because last season, as we know, week 3, we were down Trey White, both safeties, both starting defensive tackles. So the defensive game plan kind of looked a little bit different. And then that, I believe, was at week 15, week 14, whenever we played in December, we had Poyer back and Trey. So it looked like a more traditional approach maybe toward how we defended it. And then obviously in the playoffs, you're missing Tua. So, I mean, we completely defended it differently. But I'm going to be interested to see if McDermott stays in the same approach, or we see more man style stuff and try to, even Kyer Elam may suit up it, because if you look at the stats last year, the PFF grades, I mean, even the tape, like Kyer Elam did a very good job as a rookie manning Tyreek Hill. And yes, he's not a great zone corner, and he struggles in the zone defense that McDermott likes to run, and that's why Christian Benford, who's a better zone corner, ultimately won the job. But if you want to beat Miami, the best way may be to stick, your best athlete on Tyreek, knock him off the line, and kind of just get physical with him. You might end up getting burned, but if you really, I feel like, want to get him frustrated, and really the best approach, and then have a safety there to help.
Well, the attitude that I've seen from most of Dolphins fans is that they are like, yes, please play man on Tyreek Hill or something like that. They want it.
Mhm.
So, Connor, what's your take? Like, what's happening in the water in Florida over there?
Oh, I mean, please. I promise. Who is it now that's your defensive coordinator? Is it Leslie Frazier or
It's
It's
who
Sean
is it?
McDermott.
Sean McDermott.
Oh, it is Sean McDermott. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
don't know why
Leslie
I
is
said Leslie Frazier.
he's out. He's at like ESPN.
He's
NFL
at
Network.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Because yeah, he had a lot of very bad moments last season. But if McDermott's calling your defense and he really wants to call man, I beg you to call man, because the minute you decide you're going to stick a single corner on Tyreek Hill, his route running is so sharp that the minute
Oh,
you think he's
100%.
going right, he's going to go left. And by that point, because he's so insanely fast, you're going to get burnt before you even know what's going on. On
Yeah.
top of that, that's not even accounting for the fact that Tua Tagovailoa has a literal 1.86 average snap to throw timing. He will get that ball in his hands, see his read, and toss it.
Right.
That is one reason why he has only been sacked one time in 3 games.
That's ridiculous.
Was that the first game the Chargers got him or the
Nope.
Patriots?
Patriots, right?
Matthew Judon got him.
Okay, Matthew Judon got him. All right.
And of course, you'd expect somebody like Matthew Judon to get back there, especially considering
Yeah, he's a great edge rusher.
especially considering that Teron Armstead didn't play the first 2 games, which at the end of the day makes it even more shocking that they have not allowed but
Right.
1 sack in 3 games.
Mhm.
Everybody was saying, "Oh, Miami's offensive line is going to get to another concussion, or they're just going to prevent the run from ever going forward because they won't be able to block and cover." But that has been proven wrong 3
Right.
times.
Right.
Yeah.
And the second time, let's be for real, New
Mhm.
England has a very stout defense.
Yeah, I mean, you proved that you could run the ball on them. Now, I know you mentioned you definitely don't want to just stick one corner out there, but I feel like if you're just to stick in zone the entire game, Tyreek Hill is just so fast and so shifty. He's just gonna find every single, weak spot in that zone and just like eat it apart. So, I mean, I feel like maybe the best way is you may just want to mix coverages and just try what's worked and do your adjustments based on that. But I mean, no matter what, the Bills' defensive line needs to get home because I
Oh,
mean, yeah, I mean, you mentioned 1.8 time to throw.
that's average. That is
That's
on average. He has
Okay.
been quicker than that this season. But
Gee, she's the Flash.
he is. This whole team is the Flash. I heard Sean McDermott talk about his game plan for the Dolphins, and he's right. You should have been on the phone with Usain Bolt and called him and said, "Get in the backfield. We're going to try to emulate Tyreek Hill by having you run a 40 all the way down the sideline and just have y'all try to catch him," because that's what you're dealing with on one front.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that even if you can manage to play a type of zone D that will kind of mirror the area of the field Tyreek Hill is in, you're going to let Jalen Waddle run all over you. And then he's going to be waddling in your end zone 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And yes, Jalen Waddle practiced in full today. They're making the decision very shortly, probably by Thursday, maybe later, to determine whether he comes out of concussion protocol or not. But all signs point to yes, he's coming back.
yeah.
That would be huge. I mean, even without Waddle last week, you still put up 70 points. You may not even need them, but part of that was because of that run game. I mean, A-Chain.
A-Chan. It's
A-Chan,
actually
sorry.
A-Chan.
All
It's
right.
actually the story behind that is yes, everybody was calling him Devon Achane. After the game, he straight up goes to the media and says, "Y'all been pronouncing my name wrong for this whole time. It's pronounced Achan." And everybody's like,
A-Chan. Okay.
huh? Huh?
Bro put up 204 touchdowns and said, "No, you're gonna get my name right."
Was that his first NFL game?
Yep.
Yeah, you can't really have a much better of a debut. Now, did he get the bulk of the carries
No.
that game? So he just had
No.
the better game versus
He was-
Mostert. So are you guys going forward gonna do kind of like a split backfield type approach, or is Mostert still gonna be the main guy?
Mostert is the main guy, and there's a reason for that. Our second, Jeff Wilson, is on IR. And he hasn't played, and he won't play for one more game. So it'll be this one. Then he'll probably be back for the Giants if he's still on IR.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Salvin Ahmed is dealing with a groin injury. If Salvin hadn't gotten hurt in the Patriots game, he would have been taking a chance carries
Mm-hmm.
against Denver when they put the backups in, which, by the way, unsung free agency addition for the Miami Dolphins, Mike White. I know people
You
are
know
not
what?
going to.
He's
I
the
know
GOAT.
I know people really aren't going to be like, oh, yeah, it's not really much of an addition because it's a backup quarterback. Did you see what he can do?
The Jets could use him right now. I'd
I
say
was
that.
about to say, moreover, it's
like,
So is
almost.
that
they
the
would
second
love
free
a
agent?
Mike White right now.
Oh, no, Jenna. I know I told you that there were two. No, the one free agent other than Mike White was Braxton Berrios.
Yes, Braxton
Yeah,
Berrios. That's the one
Braxton
that
Berrios.
Yeah.
He's been good.
That whole signing of all the Jets players that we took except Dan Feeney because he really didn't pan out.
I mean, you got a draft pick out of him. That's decent for
Yeah,
a lineman who's not even going to make your team.
Let's be real. We got a draft pick for possibly the worst lineman we've ever seen. We got a
Hey.
2025 seventh round pick for Jesse Davis.
Hey,
I want after the podcast, y'all need to go on YouTube, just type in Jesse Davis, Miami Dolphins, and just watch him literally crumble in the face of any pass rush. I don't care who was rushing. You could have literally put someone like y'all have seen that video with that old man running through all those guys trying to. You could have put him out there, and he would have
Right.
pulled through Jesse Davis. Man, was that bad. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, y'all probably remember this. You remember a couple of years ago that game that y'all beat us 45-0?
yeah, in
it was
Miami.
35-0.
Yeah.
Actually, just
Yeah,
a
it
little bit, a little less
Yes,
Oh,
I was at that game.
gruesome on you.
Yeah, that was yeah, y'all got through so many times because you just kept attacking the same side Jesse Davis was on. That poor guy.
Dang.
The one
And
time
we-
Devin Singletary had like a 50-yard run.
Yeah, I think that was his longest run ever.
Yeah.
Yep. And we literally just sat there speechless, so confused, like, why are we even out here? And then
Oh.
Tua went down and it went even worse.
Yeah.
But
I mean-
that was that game. This time, I know last year we were down here, we were nervous. We were getting ready to host y'all and we were scared. I know Dolphins fans were shivering because we were just like, oh man, we finally got a real test. And then all of a sudden, we won. I won't even say it, but yeah, we all know why we won. That final couple of seconds, I thought that butt punt was the death of us.
Actually, I think the butt punt actually helped you in a way because had Morsa got the punt off, it probably would have gotten to what, like the 40, 50, something like that. And there was like at that point there was like a minute left, so McKenzie could have taken it back 10 yards even, or even if he would have fair caught it, like all we would have really needed was to drive 10 or 15 yards, we would have been at field goal range. I mean, we may have even scored a touchdown
Yeah.
if the punt was bad enough. So the bump punt may have actually helped you
Maybe. It
Well,
because
also,
you were able to
so-
kick it off, and I think we had to take it from a touchback.
you
Yeah.
did.
Right.
Yeah, because that ball went straight up and out of that end zone.
Yep.
It did not help that Josh Allen, the play prior, threw an absolute duck. Like that ball
Yeah.
didn't even go to the receiver's hands. It went into the dirt. I
I
sat there
think he
looking
was
at it
just
going like,
tired.
whoa,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
had what, like
in that game,
66 attempts that game. Like,
63.
yeah, like he had 400 passing yards, and like
Yeah.
Gabe Davis, I know was it Holland who knocked the ball out? Like there was a safety who knocked the ball out, but I mean
Yep.
he could have caught it. Like it was in
Mhm.
both of his hands. It was a very good pass in the corner of the end zone by Josh. Like it should have been a touchdown. Let's be honest. But I mean it wasn't. But I mean Allen had a very good game. Like I see like
Mhm.
people posting that final pass. It's like Josh lost that game. I'm like, did he not put up like 400 yards of offense that game himself? Like,
Yeah, he
it's
had
just passing.
a great game, but at the end of the day, we
Yeah,
all
it
know
wasn't
what
good enough.
destroyed y'all.
Wasn't
No,
good
we know
enough.
what destroyed y'all.
This
I
time.
just-
And it was
The
the fact
Florida-
you were
the
playing in
Florida Sun.
Miami. Yep.
Yeah.
You were playing
Yeah,
in
that didn't
Miami
help.
in the beginning of September,
Yeah.
and it was
It
basically
was
a
the
summer
end of
day.
September.
Yep, it was a summer day in Miami, and y'all got absolutely
Hot.
cooked, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
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 But at the end of the day, we paid for it because we went to Buffalo in December.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
and We deserve the snowballs. Let's be honest.
Oh my gosh,
That was funny. I was yelling
That
at my
was in
TV
a-
screen.
that was an amazing game. Like I was there. That was probably one of the best football games I've ever been at. Like
Crazy. That
the
game
the
was amazing.
nighttime game, the snow.
Yeah.
That was a fun game.
And
I-
can we also just talk about how criminal it is that this game is at 1:00 on a Sunday?
Oh my gosh,
It
it
works out
really
for the Bills,
is.
honestly.
It
I
It
mean,
does.
you could say it's criminal, but it's really not because you look at the Bills' schedule after this 1:00 game. There's only 2 1:00 games, and those 2 1:00 games against the Patriots. So
Oh,
I mean,
but
we all know what the Patriots are right now.
Mhm.
I
Well,
mean,
trash.
the rest of the way, it's prime time or 4:25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We
not
go to
bad.
London next week. We
I
play at
agree.
9 something next
I
week.
agree. Like, but we should have had like the Broncos or Bucks should not have been prime time. Like this
Right,
is
yeah.
a rematch of a wild card game from last year, division rivals. Like all three games were within I think 3 points if I'm not mistaken, and
Three.
like they literally all came down to the fourth quarter. So like I mean. Yeah, you're right. This game really should have been a Sunday night game, and then one of those other stupid primetime games should have been at like 1.
We're
But
stuck
it
with
is what it is. But as you brought up, like the weather, I feel like that's definitely why the NFL did it this way. So like we get like a perfect 70-degree day in Buffalo. Hopefully no wind or rain. So like it's just gonna be the best team is gonna win because
Yeah.
yes, the Bills will have the advantage playing at home in front of their crowd and not having to travel, but you don't really have the elements playing, a major factor into this game, which is kind of a nice thing. And I'm not saying like the Bills can't play in Miami or the Dolphins can't play in the cold or in Buffalo, but like these are two of the top teams in the NFL right now. You want to see them playing at their best, right? So I kind of like it this way. I don't know about you, Connor.
Oh, no, I love it. I'd rather us not have a win that was tainted by either being too hot or too cold.
Yep.
And there are definitely statements that can be made on both ends that both games were affected by weather. One was
Mhm.
insanely hot where nobody was able to get hydrated quickly enough. And yes, if anyone asks, that stadium, ours down in Miami, was actually designed that way when Stephen Ross laid out the blueprints. He specifically said, we are going to put the away team right in the sun and we're going to shade our own sideline.
Mm.
He said that on purpose. That's not a lie. You can look it up.
Dirty man. Dirty man.
Yeah.
Stephen Ross has been trying to take people out of games for the longest time. And it nearly worked with Buffalo. I'm pretty sure Stephon Diggs was out of the game for heat
Yeah,
cramps.
yeah,
Pretty
he had
sure-
to leave a couple times, I think.
I'm pretty sure Josh Allen left a couple of times for heat cramps too, but
Yeah.
I could be mistaken. Gabe Davis, who, by the way, extend this man immediately. No, I really love Gabe Davis. He is one of your best wide receiver twos, and he should stay that way for a while. Simply because Gabe Davis always seems to be able to find a way to be open somehow, some way.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and I noticed this against the Jets, Gabe Davis was wide open a couple of times, and Josh Allen was like, you know what? I am going to take this ball, I am going to run with it, and I am going to hurdle someone and embarrass them on national television, and failed multiple times.
Right.
That was, I don't
Yeah.
know what it was, but I am not about to be like, oh yeah, Zach Wilson has the Jets. No, he doesn't. Zach Wilson is a fluke artist. He
Yeah.
fluked you guys
He's
twice, and he took out a Dolphins team with Skylar Thompson. Oh, boo-hoo.
he's like Josh Rosen 2.0.
Oh,
in
don't
my-
even
my
speak that
eyes.
name around here. I hate
All
that.
right, yeah. Hey,
He-
you did you get two of though.
It did.
I mean,
Thank God he
so-
sucked.
Now speaking of Davis,
Wait,
though.
Paul was gonna say
Oh,
something.
sorry.
I was just trying to say back. I just kind of wanted to turn the conversation back to this game. I mean, you looking at the Dolphins offense. They're like first in almost every statistical offensive category known to man. I mean, they're like, I'm just looking at it today. There's more number ones than any other number. I mean, but the Dolphins also haven't played a really prominent defense. They haven't seen like the Bills defense as good as the Bills. So my question to you, Connor, is even though they haven't played a defense like the Bills, how does your offense match up against the Bills defense?
Well, I wouldn't say we've seen bad defenses. Okay, Denver doesn't count. Denver is bad. We can all admit it. But I still wouldn't say we've seen truly horrible defenses.
Yeah, New England has a solid defense.
Yeah.
I will agree with you, Connor.
The
They're
thing
solid.
with the Chargers, though,
I would
Chargers
still
lost to
not
the
say
Titans.
horrible.
The Chargers
Chargers
lost to the
are
Titans.
paper tiger on defense. They got all these names and everything, but
Mhm.
I mean, they blew a 27-point lead in the playoffs. Like,
I mean, when you got Joey
they got
Bosa,
they really got to
can't
like
generate
win a
any
playoff
pressure.
game before like they should get any level of respect
Mhm.
in the NFL after that debacle.
Oh no, agreed. At the end of the day, they absolutely have no respect among anybody anymore. They officially, finally got the Tua versus Herbert debate destroyed this year because Tua just outplayed him in every single way possible. But I know for a fact that Mike McDaniel is going to have something special cooked up for the Bills defense because it's true. This is from top to bottom the best defense we faced so far. And if you look at our schedule, it is most likely the best defense we will face all year from top to bottom. You had only one argument, Dallas, but yeah, no Trevon Diggs, no secondary. So
Yeah.
that goes out the window. Tremaine
Maybe
Edmonds,
Philly.
Philly.
yeah,
Yeah.
nah. We are going to
All right.
absolutely cook those corners.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
Yeah,
their
that's
corners
true.
are
That's
actually
true.
not that
They
great
do.
anymore.
They do have a corner weakness. I feel like, but
Mhm.
that D line, like Jalen
oh.
Carter's already looking like Aaron Donald as a rookie. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, well, we got
time?
Robert Hunt for that, so
Yeah,
it's no
that's
big
true.
deal.
Is that a primetime game, Connor?
Yeah, that's a Sunday nighter,
Yes.
I believe. Whenever you play
Yes.
them,
Let's
It
go.
that'll
should
be
be.
a good game.
That'll be good. That'll be good primetime.
Not
Yeah.
even that, but we play the Chiefs in Germany.
Ooh.
Yep. Hey, the
That-
Chiefs defense actually looks pretty good.
The Chiefs
Yes, it
defense
does.
literally
Trent McDuffie is he
Mhm.
rated the number one corner right now by PFF
Yes.
or something?
yes.
He's
Wow.
I'm still Brad Veach had to steal Trent McDuffie from us.
Trent
Yeah, and,
McDuffie literally had to guard a Bears receiver. Does that even count? Let's be
Hey,
completely
I mean,
honest.
he's
Hey, I mean, he did go up
he's
against
good.
St. Brown week 1. St. Brown is one of the best receivers in
Yeah.
the NFL in
One of-
my mind. Maybe slot receivers.
Yeah, he's really good. I
Back
got
to
a lot of love for that guy.
Connor. Back to Gabe Davis.
Extend
This
him.
week, right? Like this week, I feel like without Jalen Ramsey, that might be an area that the Bills' offense might be able to take advantage of. Do you agree with that? Just since you're down, arguably your number one corner.
Let's see. I feel like what they'll try to do on defense, what Vic Fangio will have cooking. If you've watched any kind of highlights from the Dolphins defense, we do not blitz
Mhm.
unless it is a very important situation. And when they do blitz, they get home every time with a pressure or a sack or a fumble that turns into either a huge loss of yardage for the offense or a turnover on or a recovery for the
Mhm.
defense. But when it comes to both Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, I guarantee you, Coach McDaniel has watched the film. There's a lot of things that I even see, like against the Commanders last week, against the Raiders in week 2. Josh Allen kind of has a tendency to look down the field and go, hey, there's Diggs, throws him the ball. So I feel like they'll take a look at that and they'll be very he'll be aware that Allen is going to either try to run with the ball or he's going to try to get the ball to Diggs. So what I think will happen is Howard will probably shadow Diggs a lot. But when it comes to Davis, I think he'll have a lot of Cater Kohu all around him, along with maybe Javon Holland, unless, in my opinion, they put him as a spy on Allen to make sure he can't get away on a long scramble.
Connor,
Like- Go ahead. Go ahead, Tommy.
I had a question. I see that. What do y'all rank? Like 27th against the tight end.
I believe so. Yes, it's
How
not good.
y'all going to manage to cover both Kincaid and Knox in this game?
Are you going to have one as a blocker? Because I feel like
you
Kincaid
might
is
not
so.
have to.
Yeah, we might not have to. Yeah.
I was going to say, because if you put a 2 tight end set and you just send them down the field, we might have to drop a linebacker into coverage. And if we have to drop a guy like David Long into coverage, or if we have to drop David Long into coverage, it's not going to be a fun time. But if we have to drop Andrew Van Ginkel into coverage, I'd be on the lookout. Andrew Van Ginkel is a guy that Bills fans are probably going to look at this week and go, who's this guy and why is he destroying our interior O-line?
That man needs a better shampoo and conditioner.
Maybe
He
that's
needs some volume.
Hey, maybe that's why opposing O-lines are so scared of him. They look at that man and go, what is that hair? And they just run. Because Andrew Van Ginkel has kind of been the surprising star of the Miami defense through 3 weeks. He's been really good, and I feel like what they'll probably do against Allen's a big man. Like, out of all the quarterbacks in this league, he is big. He reminds me a lot of vintage Ben Roethlisberger without all the off-the-field BS. You cannot sack this man unless you like forcibly rip him down. And if, say, for whatever instance, Christian Wilkins happens to get there, he might just slide right off. If Zach Seiler gets there, he might slide right off. Well, in comes Andrew Van Ginkel. He will just bowl people over with his tackling style. He has done it multiple times, and he was the one in Denver. Pretty sure it was Denver. It might have been. It's hard to remember any defensive things from that Denver game because the offense just lit them up so bad.
Right.
But I think it was against the Chargers too that Andrew Van Ginkel had a lot of game-changing plays that went his way. Heaven forbid the last play the Chargers had, Andrew Van Ginkel was the one that got there. He and Bradley Chubb combined were able to get through the Chargers O-line and get right to Herbert and end the game. So what I'm thinking is Andrew Van Ginkel will definitely play a huge role in getting to Allen. It won't really be a thing where he's going to have to kind of play like a spy right in the middle. Like, what's that guy's name? He might not even be a linebacker. AJ Epinesa on your team? Is he a corner,
no,
a safety?
He's more like an edge.
He's an edge.
rusher.
Okay,
Edge.
gotcha.
Defensive end.
Yeah, because I watched that play that he had against Sam Howell. Where was Howell even throwing that ball? Unless it was right to AJ Epinesa.
AJ Epinesa.
Like, I feel like McDaniel will probably watch that too and make sure that Andrew Van Ginkel doesn't necessarily try to emulate that type of play because you won't need to against Allen. Allen's not that inaccurate like Sam Howell is. Let's be real. It's going to be a tough test on all corners of this defense. But the PFF chart that was referenced earlier with Trent McDuffie at number 1, Cater Kohu is at number 14. That man was, if I remember correctly, undrafted.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring
He
up.
was?
Yeah, I think he
Wow.
was either undrafted or a late 7th. But Cater Kohu has shown up and shown out on this defense enough to the point where they're letting Cam Smith, our 2nd round pick, just sit because they haven't needed to start him. But the problem is you're having to start Eli Apple.
Didn't he shift to a boundary? Cater Kohu?
I think he did, yes. Like, he's had to shift a little bit in Vic Fangio's game
Justin
plan.
Bethel is in the slot?
Well, Justin Bethel has not seen this playing field. You know who has?
He hasn't?
No, you know who has? Eli freaking Apple. That's who's been in his place.
They have someone in the slot that's not named Cater Kohu.
Well, they haven't needed to put Kohu in the slot because he's basically shadowing their number 2 the whole time.
Mhm.
That's how
Right.
good he's become. I'm still going to I might place the bet that Kader Kohu snags an interception on Josh Allen in the game, but that is obviously to be determined, especially if you decide you're going to heavily favor a 2 tight end set. McDaniel and Fangio would have to shift that game plan a lot, especially.
We're gonna run it too. The 12 personnel.
Oh yeah, see that's what I'm saying. If y'all run the 12 personnel, that's going to be hard for us to cover. We have to at that point get to Allen, and we've got the defensive front that can get to Allen. It's just a matter of this Bills O line isn't as bad as we all thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
It's
Y'all-
top right now. It's top 3.
yeah.
Mhm.
Spencer Brown, he's been outplaying what he did last season, which was absolutely terrible.
I was about to say that bar's not that high. That
Yeah,
bar
no,
is
it isn't.
like-
It
That
isn't.
bar
Which-
is at the bottom.
If he can
bad.
outplay what he did last year, then we're satisfied because
Yep.
we've had
That-
Knox run some chip blocks next to him,
Mhm.
helping him out. But he's actually held up strong. Osiris Torrance has been a freaking dog.
Yeah,
he's
for sure.
I think he's only got like a couple pressures given up, and maybe one QB hit or
Mhm.
something. 0 sacks so far.
Mhm.
Mitch Moore's solid as always. Connor McGovern, he was
Fire.
really, really good against Washington. He was blocking up Jonathan Allen.
I was about to say, do they even have a pass rush aside from Jonathan Allen?
No, they do. They do. They had
do?
they had
Montez Sweat.
Oh, I
Montez
forget about
Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Chase Young, and
Yeah, Chase Young, former
oh my
future
God,
Dolphin,
who-
by the way.
who's and Deron Payne.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, they have one of the best defensive lines in the league.
yeah.
They had
Chase
10
Young is
sacks going
a
into the game.
Chase Young is a future Dolphin, by the way. They
Okay.
will trade. They will trade Chase Young before it's all said and done, and
How would you really think that?
it's possible. There's been a lot of rumors that say Chase Young is going to get traded at the end of this. At some point, I wouldn't say end of the season, obviously, but at some point they might trade him. And the Dolphins did come up in that discussion at one point.
There's-
I'm like,
You'll,
Could you
you'll-
imagine?
There's like a
you-
correlation between Bills and Dolphins fans. Like we want
Yeah.
everyone, and the Dolphins fans want anyone.
Yeah,
It's
but-
really
Don't you have to pay or I almost said Rousseau? Don't you have to pay Jalen Phillips? And I feel like Young's gonna want a bag
mhm.
to get
Yeah,
traded.
Yeah.
and that's why it's unrealistic. We want it, we wish it, but it'll never happen because we want to pay both Christian Wilkins and
Yeah,
Jalen Phillips.
and you got to pay Tua eventually, right?
And
Javon Holland.
Javon
Holland.
Holland.
Hey, Javon Holland.
Waddle's gonna come up eventually.
Mhm.
Waddle's got
Um,
a few more years, but yes,
Yeah,
gonna
he's got
come
a
up.
couple, but
Sure.
I mean, I think next year's when you could start talking. I
Mhm.
believe.
Yep.
Obviously you got that 50 year, so
And
um,
then
um,
one man on this Dolphins team that has now earned a paycheck before we all thought he was going to get cut, Robert Hunt. Robert Hunt was one of our O linemen that was kind of not not Spencer Brown level bad,
Mhm.
but he was kind of
Iffy.
meh. And he's been outperforming every standard set before him. As a matter of fact, Robert Hunt is the same guy that took a pass from Tua and dove into the end zone against the Ravens a few years
yeah.
ago.
really, that was Robert Hunt.
That was Robert Hunt.
I remember
Wow, that was one of the best plays of all time.
Mhm.
That should have counted. I'm
It
still
should've.
I'm
Should
mad
have,
at it.
but I
Shoulda
was scared
counted.
for his neck. Like his neck went like
Yeah, kind
on the
of.
ground. Oh my god! I was like, oh my god, is he okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Back to your back to Jalen Phillips. Is he gonna be playing Sunday? Because I know he was out against the Broncos. He didn't
No, he
practice today.
left the Broncos game. He was playing.
Oh, he did
initially.
play. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
he
he didn't
He
play at
didn't
all.
play Patriots.
He played when the game was still manageable, but once
Uh-huh.
the game got out of hand,
They took him
Jalen
out.
Phillips said, "Forget it, I'm out of here. My groin's still nagging me." And
No, it was his oblique.
was it his oblique? Yeah,
Yeah, it
because
was
they put
his
him.
oblique. He had the
because-
back injury last week.
Yeah, because they put it on the practice report this week as a groin injury.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
thought
sure
it was an
either-
oblique. That's
Yeah, I
an
think
entirely
it's a-
different area.
I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's a groin they marked him with this
The
time.
groin is Connor Williams, though.
Oh yeah, that I ugh, I'm a mixed bag of emotions about this. For all of Connor Williams' bad snaps, he has been one of the best run blockers in the league this season.
Really?
And when it comes to run blocking with Raheem Mostert, and most definitely you are going to see a lot more Chan. I would definitely say that in this game, your defense will have to try to stop Chan. And all I could say is good luck. Like, I think one of my real questions to y'all is how's your run stopping game look like? Because if they feel that they're going to have a lockdown set on Tyreek Hill to where it limits him, and they're also trying to limit Waddle,
Right.
then how are you going to stop Chan? Because it's between him and Mostert who are going to be catching the short passes from Tua and taking the handoffs from Tua.
Well,
Who
I'm
is going to step up and try to stop that? Because he is fast.
I don't
well,
think
sorry.
it's okay.
You know who did not play the other day? It was Puna Ford.
That
They
name sounds
elevated.
familiar.
He was from the Seattle Seahawks.
That's why.
He was left inactive for Kingsley Jonathan to come in as the defensive end. I don't know why they had Kingsley Jonathan in. Besides Puna Ford. Maybe because they weren't sure about Leonard Floyd's ankle or something like that. But Leonard Floyd did play, of course. They didn't have Puna Ford. And I think that they're probably going to have him active this week for the run game.
Even better is all I got to say. I know a lot of Dolphins fans will be like, "Nah, keep him out. They'll be fine." Nah, bring it. I prefer the victory at full strength, and that's just me. I would rather y'all be top tier good than being able to run over everybody on a way to the most convincing division win ever. Which, no thanks. There's no pride in that. Everybody's just gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't play anybody." Yeah, well, we do. We got we got the freaking Bills in our division.
You talked about stopping Chan. I think or Moster and everybody else. I don't really think it's a one particular person that has to stop him. I think it has to be a collective effort by this defense to tackle well. Because if you look at I know we've been saying the Denver Broncos don't count because they didn't look like they tried. But I mean, how many tackles they missed on Chan and almost every person known to man on the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they could have gave the football to an offensive lineman and they still would have missed tackles. The Bills really have to tackle really, really well, or this game can turn in a flip of a second. I also think I mean, you look at back to the Bills game against the Commanders. I mean, there was one play that keeps repeating in my head is that when we I think the Commanders were in the red zone at this time, and we decided to bring some pressure, and almost like 3 or 4 different players just completely missed Sam Howell, and Sam Howell was just dancing around looking for
that was
something.
pitiful. Oh my god!
And I'm sitting here, I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm like, can somebody tackle this person? Because if this happens against the Miami Dolphins, I think the TV is going to be broken by the end.
The main thing is if you don't tackle anyone on this team, whether it's Raheem Mostert, Devon Chan, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Braxton Berrios, you could throw him in there too. They're gone. You will literally be choking on dust as any of them just leave you behind while they go to the end zone.
Turf pebbles. We choking on turf pebbles.
Turf pebbles? Okay, yeah, that's actually fitting. But yeah, that is going to be the main thing for y'all. I agree, because I know the play you were referencing, Paul, as a matter of fact. It's like they got to Howell, and then Howell was just slipping around tackles, dodging sacks, and I'm just like, can y'all not wrap this guy up?
Like
What
he
are
was
y'all
playing
doing?
hopscotch.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it was
Is he gonna?
It was
And then he
painful to
throws
watch.
pretty sure he threw a duck the same play. So at the end of the day, it didn't matter. But
No, that
no.
was he ran to like the 10-yard line on that play.
Yeah.
It was like
Oh,
18
that was
yards
it.
jumper.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I
That was
remember
the
the
play I
one.
was
I just thought,
referencing.
yeah, I just thought that was where he threw that duck in the red zone.
No.
But speaking of throwing, that's another thing too. If you could get past the offensive line, you basically have to put pressure on Tua within a literal second, or else he's found his read and he's thrown the ball. Like,
Yeah.
do you have a? I mean, I know you've got a lot of elite pass rushers, like Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver. Like, they're all really freaking good, but can they get there that fast? That's the question that I think you have to answer, and I think that's what McDermott has to really plan for. Is how do you get around this O line that hasn't allowed one sack, has allowed one sack in 3 games and less than I think 10 pressures all season long.
Yeah.
How do you get around them to get to a quarterback that has thrown the ball to his target in less than 2 seconds?
Right. Well, how would you grade the like the Chargers defensive line, the Broncos defensive line, and the Patriots defensive line?
Patriots definitely did it the best.
Yeah.
For sure.
Would you say like your defense, does your offensive line struggle more with like those interior pass rushers like a Chris Jones or like a Quentin Williams type, or like those speed rushers around the edge for those tackles? Like, what really is the best way to attack Tua and kind of throw him off platform? Because I know for Josh Allen, when you get interior pressure to him, that's really how you knock him off platform and kind of get him flustered.
That would be like, that would genuinely for us, it'd come in the form of, if it was not an Andrew Van Ginkel rush off the side to put pressure on Allen that way, it would probably be a safety blitz where Kohu just bowls
Well,
through
right.
the defensive line.
But as far as getting pressure on Tua, what type of pressure would you say affects him the most? Is it like that interior rush, or like, get like a speed rusher off the edge to beat your tackles? What's a way to beat your O-line? Because I know
Ironically, I think you said it, Ben. That's how, if I remember correctly, that's how Judon got to Tua, was off the edge and he just ran right past the lineman.
So we're gonna need Leonard Floyd to, yeah, he's been bringing it. The first 3 weeks, I believe he's tied for 6 in the league in sacks. So
yeah, and if Connor Williams doesn't play, that makes your interior offensive line vulnerable.
Who is your backup center?
Liam Eichenberg.
Oh boy.
Oh jeez.
That man.
Well, even Williams a couple times, like, if I'm not mistaken, he's had a couple bad snaps, right?
That's his whole problem.
I think in the Miami or the
New England game, he almost fumbled away the kneel down at the end.
Yeah.
Are you talking about you said Connor Williams?
Yeah.
He also had a bad couple snaps versus the Chargers. He had some bad snaps in preseason.
Oh, the preseason. That was terrible. That was
that's,
when
that's probably his kryptonite. Is just like
it is his
bad
kryptonite.
snaps.
He is not a premier center. He never was. He played left guard for the Dallas Cowboys all them years, and because the Dolphins could not get a free agent center, they just said, screw it. We're going to transition Connor Williams to center, and it kind of sort of worked. Thing is, it did work in a lot of ways, but the worst thing is his tendency to just fumble the snap. He fumbled the snap against the Chargers right on the goal line when they were on the way to score. Chargers recovered. If, say, he does play, then yeah, if Connor Williams fumbles a snap in prime territory, I'm certain that a Bills player like Greg Rousseau or Ed Oliver will probably get there and get that ball.
Yeah, you think that because Ed Oliver, he's top 10 in pressures right now. I think he leads the league in pressure rate. Actually, so if he gets good pressure off the jump on Connor Williams, you think he might get in his head a little bit?
I wouldn't say he'd get in his head, I definitely say that it would make Tua also adjust how he's got the ball when he takes the snap. It might result in quicker throw times, but at the end of the day, he also is doing something that he hasn't really done before this season, and that's stepping up in the pocket before he throws the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Last season, if you guys saw, there was a lot of games where Tua just would kind of sit in the middle of the pocket, just kind of looking for his read, and then would just never either throw the ball or he'd get pressured and start trying to get away.
Yeah.
Like he'd go to his left, he'd go to his right, he'd back up and he'd get sacked or he'd throw the ball away. Like the case was with, I can't remember the Bengals player, but that's how he got the concussion. Was he didn't step up in the pocket.
Right.
This season, Tua's taken a lot of that outside pressure like Judon was able to get, and he steps up in the pocket and avoids that pressure to hit Tyreek Hill on some ridiculous route.
The only thing is, I could see if he steps up in the pocket, Ed Oliver might just be right there.
And that's true, which is why
he's been living in the backfield.
Oh, he has. I've seen those plays. Ed Oliver is making a home back there. But the hardest test I think he's going to have yet is trying to make a home in the Dolphins' backfield. Like, you are going to have to get through Robert Hunt. You're going to have to get through Teron Armstead because he is playing this game. But to be completely fair, Teron Armstead will be covering Tua's primary side.
Now, did Teron Armstead play last game?
Yes.
Okay.
Played the whole game. He was one of the few that didn't sit the whole game.
He always has those injury designations.
Yeah, that was.
Do they just keep it on there? Do they give him? It's mainly vet rest.
It's vet
load
rest
management?
at this point. Oh yeah, it's vet rest because in all of Teron Armstead's seasons, no matter if he's played for the Saints or Dolphins, he has never played a full NFL season in his entire 16-year career. Never. Not once.
That's continued this year.
And that has unfortunately continued this year.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's back for our biggest game is the best thing that we could have possibly hoped for. The main problem is going to be if Jalen Phillips and Connor Williams can't go. If they can't go, then we've got a hole in the center of our offensive line, and we've got a hole in the linebacking core on our defense.
Right.
Now, against Denver, that didn't matter, but against Buffalo, where you've got a much more stout offensive line than expected, and Josh Allen, who is leaps and bounds above Russell Wilson, like, it's not going to be the same without Phillips being able to get the pressure in there off of either Chubb's pressure or if he can get in there with Andrew Van Ginkel. Like, it's just not going to be the same if he's not back there. So I'm thinking most definitely they will make sure Phillips has every last chance to go before they say he's out. I would definitely keep an eye on our injury reports as they go throughout the week. Because, I saw, what was it? Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, somebody else was on your injury report.
Leonard Floyd.
Yeah.
Saran Neal. Saran Neal's our special teams guy.
Yep, I didn't buy it. It's got to be vet rest.
It's
they did that Bill's injury report is really a nothing burger at this point. It's not like last year when we played on week 3 when we just had like
the whole page was filled up.
we had a CVS sheet, receipt worth of injuries in that game.
And most of that was heat cramps. Because
even going into the game, like Wednesday before, like we were missing Hyde, Poyer, we were missing
that actually.
Yeah, that was like it's still like that injury report is almost like it seemed Photoshop when it first came out. It was like half the team injured.
And then that's what all the Bills fans were saying is, "Oh, you beat an injured Bills
Holy
team."
Shit, guys, hold on. Okay, I got to read this. All right,
she found it.
So we have Gabe Davis ankle, Stephon Diggs vet rest, Reggie Gilliam, elbow. Micah Hyde, neck. And at that point, Micah, he was out for the season. you know?
Yeah, they placed him on
Right.
IR the day before the game.
Oof.
Dane Jackson, neck. That was when his head or his neck bent back in the Titans game.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dawson Knox, foot. Cam Lewis, forearm, knee. Matt Milano, neck. Mitch Morse, elbow. Ed Oliver, ankle. Jordan Phillips, hamstring. Jordan Poyer, foot. Tim Settle, calf. That was our entire
Like-
injury report for that
That
game.
is
like
literally a
15.
team, an
Yeah.
entire
And then,
team. I counted 13 players heading into that
Dane,
game. We
Micah
could suit up
Hyde
a
was
football
out.
team.
Dane Jackson was out. Dawson Knox was questionable. Gabe Davis was questionable. Mitch Morse was questionable. Ed Oliver was out. Jordan Phillips was out. Jordan Poyer was questionable. He didn't play. Tim Settle was questionable.
Wow.
That
that was-
is crazy, the
that
amount
was-
of injuries.
And this time it's a lot less.
Oh, yeah. I
Thankfully.
think,
Thank
we're,
God.
we're pretty much 100% healthy minus Von Miller, but Von should be back next
Next week.
week
Yep.
in London, baby. So,
I don't
I
know.
mean-
I think they might keep him out just because of how good the defensive line has looked. They might keep him out until week 6.
uh,
Giants, baby.
maybe, but I think Von's just going to want to play, being the competitor and
Yeah.
player. Like, they'll probably just keep him on like a snap count.
Mhm.
But when you get Von Miller back in the lineup and to go with it, I mean, there's just going to be literal waves upon waves of, pressure coming in the fourth quarter between like the rotation at, edge. The defensive tackles can send pressure. So it's about to be scary when
Mhm.
Miller returns.
I
Oh,
can't.
for sure. And the bummer is that you don't have him in this game where you really need him.
Yeah.
Because the way I
Because who
see it,
knows? Week 18, like,
oh,
at that point, like, both teams may not even playing starters depending on like how the seeding's wrapped up or whatnot. Like, one team may already have home field advantage wrapped up. Like, you never know if that week 18 game in Miami is even gonna matter as much for both teams. Like, it may. It could. I'm not saying it's season's gonna wind like last year, but you never know. Like week 18, you want them now for that big matchup. But it is what it is. Like we'll have them back for other important games.
mhm.
Yeah.
And
Well-
I've told Jenna this. She knows exactly what I'm about to say when it comes to week 18.
Mm-hmm.
But if it goes exactly as I think it might, week 18 could very well be a matchup in Miami between you guys and us, not just for the AFC East, but for the number 1 seed as a whole.
Really, that would be a crazy matchup.
Yeah,
That
but
would
I
be
don't-
something.
I don't think I need 2 stressful Miami Dolphins games in a row in one season. I think one week 4 is good enough for me.
The way I see it, right? I looked at your team's schedule and I looked at ours. I
Mhm.
think the only possible maybe games that the Bills can physically drop is maybe the first one to us, and y'all do play the Chiefs. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd say you possibly lose that game to the Chiefs in less than 10 seconds. But yeah, I had to bring that up. I apologize in
13.
advance. I know it was 13. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
But maybe you lose to the Chiefs. Maybe you beat us in week 4, but you lose okay, actually no, wait. I had this in my head. You beat the Chiefs. That way you have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs. You
Yeah.
lose to the Eagles because
We
I think
beat
you
the
guys play the
Bengals?
Eagles. No, and you lose to the Bengals.
Okay.
So you're 14-2 coming into the match against Miami.
No,
Miami.
no, we lost to the Jets week 1. So
Oh
we'll
yeah,
be
right.
13-3.
I forgot.
So we
yeah,
have to beat the Bengals.
Okay, so yeah, you're going to beat the Bengals, so you're only going to have 2 losses. You'll be 14-2 going into week 18.
I'll be right back.
Then Miami, on the other hand, say they lose the first game to the Bills. Okay, cool. We've lost a game. So what?
Yep.
We go all the way to say we lose to like the Eagles, right?
Yep.
And okay, we don't lose again the rest of the season. Tyreek Hill gets his revenge in Germany, which we all want to see it. Everybody in
Mhm.
Miami wants to see it. with how the Chiefs treated Tyreek Hill on his way out, we all want to see it. But that's neither here nor there. We wind up both of us at 14-2 coming into this final game. One of us has to finish 15-2. Winner wins the AFC East. Winner gets the 1 seed because the Chiefs already dropped that lousy week 1 affair to the Lions and will undoubtedly drop 2 more games.
Right. So they'll finish 14-3, but they lose both tiebreakers, or they lose the tiebreaker because it doesn't matter about the wild card, right?
Yeah.
But
no, they'll lock that sucker. They'll lock their division up.
yeah,
easily.
they'll be like the 2 seed or whatever.
They would be the 2 seed at 14-3 because the winner between the Bills and Dolphins would be 15-2.
Yeah.
Even if you tied, 14-2-1 is still better than 14-3.
Correct. Yeah.
And I did the math. It doesn't matter how you slice it. The Bills would win the division at 14-2-1. The Dolphins would be probably one of the best 5th seeds the league has ever seen at 14-2-1.
Just think of that. Just think of it. Like 13-3 and being a 5 seed.
And having to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these teams I firmly believe is going to end up with 11 plus wins and have to go to, I don't know, Jacksonville, maybe Indianapolis, but yeah, they're gonna have to go to one of those. I think that's how it works, right? The 4 plays the 5.
Yeah.
And the 3 plays the 6, and the 7 plays the 2 wild card. Yeah, so however it works out, like someone's gonna have to go to like Jacksonville, and we all know Jacksonville is not an easy place to play in at all. Like it is. I don't know what it is about that stadium and their fans, but they got a really like weird home field advantage. I don't know, like teams like. I know part of it is the Florida sun, but like it just seems like you cannot go into Duval and just like, have your regular offensive, assault. I mean, even the Chiefs, right? Like they went to Jacksonville, and what was the final score? It was what, like 17-9?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
exactly that.
29, I believe. Oh no, sorry,
17.
17.
Yeah,
17.
if one of our teams has to go to Jacksonville and play that team, in January, like I mean, I still think both of our teams are undoubtedly better than the Jags. I mean, we'll finish record better than the Jags, and I mean, I believe the Bills will beat the Jags next week. But I mean, we're not talking about that at this point. But either way, it's going to, be a unfortunate situation for either team if we win 12 or so games and we have to go to a 9-8 or a 10-7 Jacksonville and play there. Like, but I mean, I guess that's just the NFL's playoff seeding. It's like win your division or it's you're screwed.
Let me posit you guys another scenario that I think actually could be fairly plausible.
Okay.
Jacksonville wins 11 games and gets the 3 seed because the AFC North winner wins 10 games.
I could see that as well because
That,
Cleveland's defense is looking great.
I was actually about to stop you right there, Ben. That's who it would be. The Cleveland Browns win the AFC North for the first time in who knows how many decades.
First time ever.
1983, I think.
They've never won the AFC North.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Since realignment, they have not won that division. They won the AFC Central in the past, but
not the AFC North.
It's a non-existent division anymore, the AFC Central. Yeah.
The only way that happens is if Lamar Jackson tanks and the Bengals never recover from the sputtering start that they've had.
Yeah, but even if Lamar doesn't tank, like they may only end up with 10 wins because they just lost to a mediocre. I mean, let's be honest, they lost to a mediocre Indianapolis team at home.
Right. Yeah.
I know it's a week-to-week league and they're missing a lot of people, but that offense really has not. And I know they're still installing a new offensive system, so I am still going to give them a little benefit of the doubt. But Beckham's already hurt, and they're dealing with a lot of other injuries. And Lamar has to be the leading rusher again. Like, they don't have a reliable run game. Their best running back tore his ACL. They had to scrape up the ghost of Kenyon Drake to come in there, and he had a big fumble in the red zone. That arguably cost him the game last week. So without a consistent run game, like, that defense is still going to be up there with any defense. It, as far as I'm concerned, because Kyle Hamilton, I don't think that man is from this universe. Like, he had 3 sacks as a safety on Sunday.
Let me give you his stat line.
No, his whole stat line was insane.
Yeah, 3 sacks. He had 9 total tackles, 7 solo, 2 assists. He had a pass defense. He had 3 quarterback hits. He had a forced fumble. Like, this man, I don't know how he didn't get Defensive Player of the Week. If Terrell Bernard didn't literally go,
I was about to say, because Terrell Bernard exists.
Terrell Bernard had the best linebacker game since Brian Urlacher.
Yeah. So if he didn't go crazy, then it would have been Kyle Hamilton's award,
or even Miles Garrett.
And then you still got Roquan, flying around. He's good for almost, he can have 2 sacks on any given Sunday, it seems like. So, like, I'm not going to write off Baltimore, Connor, but, like, that offense needs to get out of the mud. Like, I'm really not sold on anyone on that offense, obviously, besides Lamar, Mark Andrews, and Zay Flowers. But, I mean, I guess we have seen in large enough sample sizes when Lamar is healthy, they can run an offense through Mark Andrews to some extent. They just kind of need to get that chemistry back. But, I mean, it can only get you so far. And obviously, like you mentioned, a big contingency is Lamar's health.
Yeah.
Exactly. So bringing it all the way full circle, Ben. So say you're presented with a scenario in which the Bills are the 5 seed, and they
going to Cleveland,
and they're either going to Cleveland or they're going to Baltimore, instead of what everybody tends to believe, that they'll be going to Jacksonville or Indianapolis. How would you then consider that matchup? Now you've got a defense.
I would actually rather go to. I would still rather go to Jacksonville or Indianapolis.
Yeah, me too.
Actually, because then you don't have to worry about playing a tough, physical, defensive team who could hypothetically win the game just based off the strength of their defense as well. If you go against a team like Indy, Jacksonville, already you got a better defense than them from the start. So that's an advantage. And number 2, you should, just based off of everything we've seen the last couple of years, all things considered, have a better offense as well. And at Indy, you're going up against a rookie head coach, rookie quarterback combination. So, I mean, if you were to tell me right now, if I were to take the Bills to start the playoffs, if the Bills were guaranteed a playoff spot and it's versus the Colts in Indy, I might sign up for that. Like, that's not a bad first playoff matchup. Like, if the Bills are fully healthy, they got everyone firing on all cylinders. Yeah, maybe they didn't win enough games to win the division, but as long as they're healthy, I would take that matchup, I think.
I would too, because not only for maybe the reasons that you guys would say, but the fact that if we went to Jacksonville or Indianapolis, we would burn every single one of their defensive backs all the way to the end zone, all game long. Literally, it would not be fair, because the minute they have a hole, they're gone. They are absolutely gone. Now, Cleveland, yeah, that's a little worrisome, but that's a very hypothetical situation that is like, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, maybe we're still the 1 seed. A lot of Dolphins fans like to think this way. Like, we want to think we're in the playoffs already. We want to think that we're preparing to win a playoff game for the first time since the 1990s. But at the end of the day, you can't do that. If you see a team do that, they fail pretty much every single time. Every time. For instance, the 2017 Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs, all their players talking all that trash about the Patriots, about how they wanted to get back against them after that Jesse James touchdown pass that wasn't a touchdown pass, and how they felt they got robbed when they didn't, when they literally had a quarterback throw a duck in the end zone that gets intercepted, but beyond the point, they kept looking so far ahead to New England that Jacksonville beat them 45-41.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. That's why I had to tell people this consistently in this fan base. Stop thinking about the Bills. Think about the Broncos. We can't start thinking about Buffalo when we haven't gotten past Denver yet. Well, I'd say I have 70 reasons why we can no longer think about Denver anymore,
Right.
and why the league can no longer think about Denver anymore. But
Yeah.
this is what I was telling Jenna about a couple of days ago. So I had someone that I feel like has been an absolute steal for the Dolphins that nobody's talking about. And it's not a player, it's a coach. Think about this for 2 seconds. The Dolphins went through so much turnover in the offseason. Josh Boyer, defensive coordinator, gone.
Fangio.
Yep, replaced by Vic Fangio. But what doesn't get talked about is the Miami Dolphins' own offensive line coach was also canned.
Oh, yeah.
They hired Butch Berry from the Denver Broncos about midway through the season, or about midway through the offseason. Butch Berry was looked at as a what are we doing hire, because the chatter was Denver was like, oh, we laughed this guy out of the building. We laughed at this guy's play calling. This man doesn't know how to set up an offensive line. Denver couldn't protect Russell Wilson whatsoever. Butch Berry becomes the Dolphins offensive line coach. 1 sack in 3 games.
Well, do you think that it might have to do with the amount of time that Tua takes to throw the ball?
Yeah.
That part of it. But
Yeah.
there are definitely times where Tua takes his time.
Mhm.
He does not look for his first read as often as he used to. Tua is evolving as a quarterback. He is truly developing at this point to where he doesn't really see the first read. He hits his second read. It's not
Right.
so much about his timing. It's not about who he's throwing the ball to.
He's
It's
just processing the field better.
Yep, it's where he's throwing in the route. He
Mhm.
knows who he wants to hit.
Right.
If they're covered, he is going to hit where they're not covered. He sees things a lot more clearly now. But when he does sit in the pocket a little bit and try to find his read, that O-line is doing its job and helping him stay protected. And a lot of that is thanks to Butch Berry. No one talks about Butch Berry, but Butch Berry has saved this team and is a big reason why they look so good. Is it why they put up 70? No. That's Devon Achen's fault. And that's also Robbie Chosen's fault, because there's no way your best corner gets burned by Robbie Chosen.
Mhm.
Like, what are you doing, Denver? You're paying Patrick Surtain II $5 million a year to get burnt by a practice squad wide receiver. Like,
Well, I think Denver just put a clinic as far as why you should never rehire a guy you previously fired for a reason, because
Yep.
Vance Joseph was previously their head coach, and they decided it was a great idea to bring him back. And I don't think it was based on Sunday's game. I'm
Not
surprised he still
in the
has a
slightest.
job at this point.
oh, for real, Ben. I had a feeling that on Monday we'd be hearing the Broncos cleaned house in their defensive staff, but they didn't. They really they think that, oh, it was maybe a fluke. Oh, this was no
Huh.
fluke.
Think how
You
bad they
you
lose to
cannot
the
catch
Bears.
us.
How bad it's going to be when they lose to the Bears? How bad?
Oh my god.
How
No,
bad-
It's
okay.
bad if they
All
lose
right.
to the Bears. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna be having our game picks soon. Our pick 6 in a little bit. And yeah, that Broncos Bears game is gonna be tough to determine.
Yeah.
Is that on there?
It's obviously on there. I
man,
chose
yeah,
that for a
I
reason.
wanna have Connor
Is
on
on
that.
the best
Okay,
six.
does
Yeah,
Connor?
yeah, for sure.
Connor, you want to participate and
Yeah,
see
we
how
can,
you
we
go?
can do that. I guess the last thing I'll mention before we move on to the game picks, this is going to be a historical matchup, because this is only the 5th time in NFL history where two teams coming off 30-plus point victories. I mean, Dolphins obviously 50, which you don't see every day. But I mean, two teams meeting off of 30-point blowouts has only happened 4 times before. So this Sunday it's going to be
Wow.
the 5th. So
Good stat there.
should be an exciting game.
Yeah.
Especially that
Basically-
defense against the offense.
Yup, it's going to boil down to who wins on their strengths. Will
Yeah.
you be able to corner Tua in the pocket, get pressure on him to where he reverts to an old rookie form?
Sure.
Or is our speed going to leave you behind? That's
Yeah.
that's going to be what decides this matchup. If
And-
you can't catch a Chan out of the pocket, it's over.
Yeah.
If you can't catch Mostert, it's over.
I
It's
wonder.
also-
Sorry, I wonder when the last time, like, probably never, that two teams have met after such, like, historic performances on one side of the ball. So like the Dolphins putting up 70 against the Broncos, and then the Bills getting 9 sacks and 5 turnovers against the
Yeah.
Commanders. Like, that's just like a matchup made in heaven right there.
Yeah, it's going to be strength on strength. I mean, we have the 2 best scoring differential teams in the league meeting, so should be interesting. Paul, you ready to do the pick
Wait,
6?
Looks like Connor has something to
Oh,
say.
sorry.
That just made me
Oh,
think.
go ahead,
That just made me think. You guys said it, strength on strength. I now feel like I have an idea on what might win this game. Which of the non-strengths is going to prevail? Because your strength is your defense. Our strength is our offense. They meet on the field at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to flip the role at some point. Dolphins
Yeah.
defense against the Bills offense.
I guess who wins
That's where
that
this game
matchup?
is going to be won. And
Right.
if you
Yeah.
want my opinion, it's not more if you can catch us. It's about, can we turn Josh Allen into Ken Dorsey sucks, I'm calling my own plays Josh Allen, like he wasn't in New York. Because if we do that, it's over. He's going to try to hurdle everybody. He's going to throw passes in triple coverage that are going to get intercepted. It's going to be a nasty affair if Josh Allen tries to go hero ball mode.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the
that's
thing
just-
is that you guys have to get interior defensive pressure.
Mhm.
Otherwise, Josh he might sit in the pocket and take the checkdowns.
Mhm. And that's
When
what
he gets
Christian
interior
Wilkins is
pressure, he
for.
gets antsy.
Yep, and that's what Christian Wilkins is for. There ain't nobody that gets more pressure on Josh Allen than that man.
There ain't nobody that grabs his
Oh.
Junk. It's
other
junk.
than that man.
Yeah, the junk twister, as you so eloquently
Mhm.
referred, Jenna, literally earlier today.
The what did I say? The meat muncher or something
Yeah.
like that?
You said
Want to
something
get into
else
game
too.
picks now?
Yes, because this is going to get hilarious, and I'm going to go on a tirade about it.
A family-friendly show. All right, let's go into game pick 6 games. Let's start with the 9:30 game over in London. It seems like the new home for the Jaguars every year. Falcons versus Jags.
Give me the
What do we got?
Jags. The Jags, they need a win coming off of back-to-back losses. I don't think they'll win next week, so I think this is kind of a must-win spot for them.
Mhm.
And I'm not a Desmond Ritter believer at all.
Yeah.
Give Jags as well. I'm not a Desmond Ritter believer at all, and I think the Jags, they need this game. They're going to come out in London, and they're going to hopefully explode on offense. So give me
Yeah, Calvin Ridley, he's due for
And it's against his former team.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
exactly.
is.
So he's probably gonna
Revenge.
show
Mhm.
something, get some
Yeah,
revenge.
That's a great angle, Jenna. I never thought
Yeah,
about that.
You guys traded me away. I had that gambling
Yeah.
suspension for the year. You
Mhm.
guys you
Yeah.
turned on me. And then I'm going with the Jaguars.
So
Bijan
Calvin
Robinson.
Ridley anytime touchdown too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's I bet NFL memes on Twitter is going to be posting something like that. Like, who wants to bet Calvin Ridley anytime touchdown? Oh, hey Calvin, do you want to bet on yourself?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that is
That's
probably
like
the
throwing
safest.
quickly.
That's probably the safest bet all week, though. Is a
Mhm.
Calvin Ridley anytime touchdown. You
Yeah.
know he wants it against Atlanta. You know.
Yeah,
But
he's gonna be playing his mind off so
Mhm.
then he can get that to hit.
That's why I think the Jags are going to win the game. They're going to
Mhm.
come out swinging because they know if they don't win that game and they have to go to
Oh.
Buffalo again, it's over. It's
Yeah.
over. Your season's
Yeah.
shot. Give the
Yeah,
crown
if
to
you start
Indianapolis.
1-4, it could be bad.
Yep.
Yep.
Give the division to Indy because you are toast.
Toast. Yep, that's a good way. Good way to put it, Connor.
So you've got to win that game against Atlanta. Give me the Jags.
Yep.
These London games are always interesting to me because you feel like a lot of points would be scored, depending on the matchup. Then you just wake up and you're watching like this field goal fest, and you're like, why did I wake up at
Yeah.
9:30 a.m. to make breakfast and I'm watching this awful game? But I like Desmond Ritter. I mean, he hasn't panned out yet in the NFL. I liked
I
watching
mean,
him
he's
in
got
college.
the worst QBR in the league right now, Paul. He's the
Yeah, I
only
know.
quarterback
Wilson?
that is statistically worse than Zach Wilson
Oh
right
my
now.
god.
That's painful.
Let that sink in. You
Yeah,
might want
that's
to
thinking. That's why Jacksonville's winning. That's
might want to
I mean,
rethink
I'm
it.
telling you that I like Desmond Ritter from college,
Oh,
but not the Desmond Ritter
oh, okay.
of the NFL just yet. So give me
Oh.
Jacksonville.
Mhm.
Next game. Commanders going on the road to the Eagles. We just seen the Commanders get whiplashed against the Bills, but any comebacks here?
I'm going Eagles here. I think that
Yeah, give me the Eagles.
too much for Howell. Give me
This
the
will be a closer game just because it's a divisional matchup, but I
Mhm.
agree with Tommy. Like, I think last year, honestly, part of the reason they beat the Eagles was in part actually to Heineke, if you want my opinion. I think his gutsy performance and making a few plays here and there when it mattered helped them secure the victory. Howell, on the other hand, we saw what happens when you get pressure on him and you can
Mhm.
really affect him. And to be honest with you, Philly's got a much better D line than the Bills. So I agree, Tommy. Give me the Philly big.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Philly too. The only thing is that Philly, their offense hasn't been rolling as it hasn't been as obviously their run game has been really, really, really good, but
Mhm.
it just hasn't been like quick down the field as it has been in the past. It's taken little
This
little bit
game's
of
in Philly.
This
It-
game's in Philly.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Like in the past, like they've driven down the field like it's nothing, but it's taken them a little bit to warm up in these games. So I think they're due for a good offensive performance. And the Commanders, their defense is really stout, but it's a division rival, and
Mhm.
it's always tough. It's always like it's tough against division rivals, but they also know each other so well. But I still think that Philly, they're due for a good offensive game.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I'm taking Philly.
Not only that, I just kind of thought about it. This is almost like a revenge game for Philly because if you remember last year in Philly, the Commanders ended the Eagles'
Mhm.
undefeated streak. So
Yeah.
now this year, they're still undefeated at this point. They got a chance to keep the streak alive versus the Commanders, a team who ended their streak last year. So yeah, give me Philly big.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. There I don't see much of a contest either. Like unless Sam Howell figures out how to throw deep balls to expose Philly's only weakness, which
Yeah.
is in their secondary to really solid receivers like Terry McLaurin, it's not happening.
No.
Philly is going to have their way with them on the defensive side of the ball. I think that game will be over pretty quick. So yeah, Philadelphia wins. Take it to the
Yeah.
bank.
Last week I was bold in taking the Cardinals beating the Cowboys, and this week, I'm like, this game could potentially have that same vibe. I'm not doing it this week though. I think
Yeah,
the
after
Commander.
the upfront scouting report from last week against the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not doing it this week. I'm not getting embarrassed. Give me the Eagles. Next game. This is an interesting 1:00 game. Rams going on the road to the Colts.
Ooh.
This game has interesting vibes to it.
Yeah.
Does
Oh.
Colts are coming off of an upset win. Richardson's coming back. They're at home.
Yeah.
They are.
I mean, I think the Rams. I mean, they still got Donald and Stafford. And I think like it makes sense logically why you would pick the Rams, just because they had a terrible loss against Cincinnati, which was largely in part to just not being able to convert in the red zone. And their defense is actually better than advertised. Like, they held Cincinnati. Yes, I know Cincinnati isn't the same offense, but I mean, they still held them in check in their building to what, like 19 points, I think the total was. I think the game was 19-16. So, I mean, I think the Rams on surface should win this game, but something tells me the Colts do. I don't know. It's a home game. Anthony Richardson is coming back from a concussion. They're first in their division. Like, I think this is kind of a new era. So give me the Colts here.
I'm with you on this one, Ben. I like the Colts here at home. Looking at the Rams offensive linemen, they didn't look.
It's not good.
Good
Indy has the third most sacks up with us right now. Like, they were in Lamar's backfield all day, and like versus Stafford, a statue. Like, yeah.
I think they're gonna expose Stafford here, and just give me the Colts here. I'll take the Colts.
I agree, Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Colts. Their defensive line is still one of the best in the league. And, you know, the Rams, they were stagnant against the Bengals. The Bengals defense really showed out at the end of the game, but they have been pretty pitiful. And when you can't and also when you can't take advantage of an injured Joe Burrow, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know. Anthony Richardson is going to be running all over,
I
so
agree.
they're going to have to contain him. And coming off his concussion, you know, he hasn't played in was a week or two. You know, he's going to be itching to get out there. I think the Colts are going to pull this off.
Am I gonna be have to be the one that says it? I feel like I'm gonna have to be the one that says it.
Okay.
Rams are gonna take this game.
Okay.
And the reason why I think the Rams are gonna take this game, they played a very stout game against Cincinnati. Yeah, sure, Joe Burrow was hobbling around on one ankle all day, but that Rams team is the only one so far that has even been close to San Francisco. And San Francisco is easily one of the top 5 teams in the entire league, hands down. They were so close to taking that win right from under their nose. And their defensive prowess, as long as you got Aaron Donald, you will always have to account for him with at least 2, if not 3 linemen, because he's just that good. It's just a matter of, does Anthony Richardson not look to his left, see Aaron Donald, give us the sound bite of the century, and get sacked.
Say, oh my God.
Yep, another one. But no, for sure, Anthony Richardson will probably crack under pressure. Rams win this game.
All right. Let's just quick note. Let's maybe when we pick the team, just take the team, quick sentence, and let's move on. Just the segment. It's a quick segment, so we just want to try to make it quicker. But I mean, I literally thought, Connor, you were going to go Indy, and I was like, I have to take the Rams then. But I'm going to take the Colts since you took the Rams. Thank you for saving me.
All right, Paul, you're welcome.
Next game, Ravens going on the road to the Browns.
Ooh. You know what? Give me the Browns on this one. I think their pass. It's a
Ben, you're speaking. Ben, we can't hear you.
Oh no! Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We
Sorry.
Oh, no, here you go.
Can you hear me? Oh no! Yeah, I got
We
the
good
Browns.
now.
We were talking. We were talking about.
Move quicker. When I say move quicker on the picks, something has to happen.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
Give me
I
the
was actually muted.
Paul, give
All
me
right.
the Browns. I think their pass rush gets to Lamar Jackson. So
All
give me the Browns.
I think Lamar bounces back. I think this is an even matchup, but the Browns are coming off of a win. And the Ravens, I think there's going to be a little more urgency for them. So give me the Ravens.
Ooh, okay.
I like Lamar. I'm going with the better quarterback here. I think they both got good defenses. That's my reasoning.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
that's a really tough one. I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think that they bounce back too. I think that the Ravens defense can rival the Browns defense in some respects. Their linebacking core is really good.
Might be the best in the league.
Yeah, and Kyle Hamilton, he looked really sharp last game. So I think
Yeah.
that they're going to get to Deshaun Watson.
Mhm.
And Nick Chubb, he's out for the season. They have to rely on Jerome Ford. So I'm going to take the Ravens.
And yeah, I also think this game is going to. I think this game could actually probably be won on defense. And if I have to take a defensive match against a defensive match, give me the Browns. They won't have to even try with Deshaun Watson if their defense wins the day for them. So at the end of the day, give me the Browns.
But
This is
I'll just ask a quick question. If it comes down to a defense, you don't think Deshaun Watson's going to be the one to make that big critical mistake, which could result in a defensive touchdown versus Lamar? Because he's
Jerome
shown.
Ford looks really, really good.
That's true.
If you don't have to pass the ball on a tough defense, run it down their throats. Jerome Ford has looked really capable in Nick Chubb's absence.
That's a good point. All right,
And
Paul.
the Ravens have no running back other than Lamar himself.
True.
at this point, I don't think anyone can trust Deshaun Watson after he decided to throw the football backwards while being sacked. But I mean, this game's in Cleveland, but I'm not going to take Cleveland. I'm going to take Baltimore. I mean, they literally should have won that game. That game was theirs for the taking, but they didn't decide. They decided, let's give the ball back to Indy. Indy said, "Hey, you can have the ball back," and they're literally just playing. They're literally playing pass to each other at the 50
Yeah, it was like
yard
hot
line.
potato.
Literally just a game of hot potato. This is CBS's second national game at the 1:00 game, which is getting the second most views out of Miami and the Bills. It's the Broncos versus the Bears.
Oh God, is this?
Oh, I don't want to have to pick a team, but I think the Broncos win it at the end of the day, just because I trust their offense a little bit more than I trust the Bears' offense. Ironically, both haven't really shown a lot, but the Broncos' offense has actually shown more. I mean, their defense was horrendous last week, but they're not going to be going up against Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And is deadly of a run game with that much speed this week. Yeah, I mean, Fields might be able to keep them in the game himself, but give me the Broncos.
I'm with you on this one, Ben. I think this is like a very must-win game for the Broncos. They need this game more than anything. So yeah, give me the Broncos.
I'm gonna take the Broncos too. Russell Wilson has actually been playing pretty decent. I think he has like maybe 5 touchdowns to 1 interception. And his completion percentage is actually pretty decent. And the Bears defense is actually pretty decimated right now. Their secondary is decimated. And their linebacking core has actually been horrendous. With Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. It's ironic because they brought those guys in to be the monsters of the midway, and they have not been that kind of description. So I think the Broncos are going to prevail. And Connor?
This is actually kind of funny because I think of it as the exact opposite of the Dolphins-Bills game. This might be the worst offense against the worst defense. So how on earth are you actually going to be able to really say which prevails? This is going to have to go to the other side of the ball where it's the Bears defense against the Broncos offense. Will they be able to put up points? Maybe. I think this game's going to end probably about 6-3, but at the end of the day, if I have to put any kind of offense, if I have to make it based on an offense, give me the Bears. The Broncos defense just got 70 points hung on them. I don't think that the Broncos are going to be able to keep up with the Bears. So at that point, just give me the Bears and fire everybody at the end of the conclusion of this game in Denver. Fire everyone.
This is not a football game. This is going to be a big.
This is a college football game.
No, it's like how you watch the big 3, like the other basketball type of series.
True.
The first to 25. This is going to be the first to 70 type of game. It's just
my God!
Like first team to 70 wins this.
That would be funny.
But kind of to Connor's point, I kind of I want to see Justin Fields do good.
I think everyone does. I think the simple fact is he's not very good.
Nope.
There's multiple avenues you can go down to reason why. I mean, that could be an entire hour talking Justin Fields, why he's completely just not him.
Yeah.
But I think he's gonna win. I think he's going to be him this weekend, and the Bears.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got 2 minutes left to do this Bills, so
Game of the weekend.
I think I'm gonna go with the Bills on this.
I got. Go ahead, Ben.
What's that,
Sorry.
Tommy? No. I mean,
No,
I feel like Miami's a very strong team, and we lost this matchup early last year. But because we lost to the Jets, I think there's going to be a little more urgency. We're fully healthy. It's in Buffalo. Allen's never lost to Miami in Buffalo, so give me the Bills.
I got the Bills winning a close one here. I got them actually winning like 20-21. I think it's gonna be that type of game. I think the crowd's gonna make an effect in this game. So give me the Bills.
Can I be the last one to answer this?
Go ahead. You can be the last one to answer. Go fine.
Connor,
Oh, yeah.
The last one. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I
Connor.
was about to say Jenna's probably got like the 50-page long essay in her mind going right now, but no, it's funny because Ben said it. There's a definite bit of urgency for Buffalo because you lost that game to the Jets. But this is a team. This is a motivated Dolphins team. We just hung 70 on a poor Denver squad. This is a team that is riding the highest of highs you could possibly imagine coming into a football game. There is no way they don't carry this over and make an effect despite being in Buffalo with that hostile environment of table smashers.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the Dolphins are not scoring less than 30 points. They are going to be hammering it down your throats consistently. What this game could very well be is another Chiefs-Rams 50-50 showdown.
That would be
No.
something.
I
And
don't
if
want
it,
that. No, personally,
if-
I don't want that.
No.
if it comes down to that, then give me the Dolphins any day of the week. But
Yeah.
as it stands, realistically, I'm still going to take the Miami Dolphins just because I don't think the Bills secondary is going to be able to keep up with all of the speed. And I don't think your interior rush is going to affect Tua enough this year to where he's going to be making terrible passes. And even if he does, I think the defense comes in clutch. Cater Kohu's going to get a nice interception probably somewhere, and it's going to be a Dolphins victory somehow, some way.
Yeah, I mean, you might save the graphic. Like if you weren't here, I mean, we probably would have picked one team, and then all of a sudden we're on the show Wednesday. We're like, oh, that was an embarrassing graphic. But I mean, to me, it's going to be like first team. Like I said, first team to 70 for Broncos Bears. I think this is going to be the first team to 24. The first team that gets to 24 wins this game, and I think that's how the Bills are going to want to play this game. And so, like you said really quick, Connor, you said first team, you said 50, like that 50 burger game with the Rams and Chiefs. If this is the game, the Dolphins win. I don't think the Bills are going to want to do that. The Bills are going to play this game 24-21. The Bills win. Go ahead, Jenna.
Okay.
She's like, she's still thinking.
I am still thinking because I really don't know. Like in my heart of hearts, I know that the Bills are a phenomenal team. But I'm actually gonna go with the Dolphins. I think that it's gonna be very close and that the Dolphins, they're just gonna get one extra point.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Are you
Wow.
good?
Your superstitions. That's probably why.
Yeah.
They're going to throw you
That
through all the
would be
tables now,
something.
Jenna.
Yeah.
was that?
Well,
Did someone ask me something?
I respect your answer there, Jeff. So
Very open and honest about it.
I respect your prediction.
yeah. I mean, that was a very great breakdown. I feel like we got some really good analysis and and insight on the Dolphins. So Connor, we want to thank you for taking your
Thank you so
time
much.
and coming on the show. And just so everyone who's watching this can know, Connor, if you want to just let everyone know where we can find you, on the
Well-
internet.
Well, you can find me at that Florida Guy 5 on Twitter. I am always
Perfect.
on Twitter, and if you can ignore my horrendously awful down bad Heat takes, then
Oh, you might be even more down bad after today.
I'm already down bad. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to talk about it. I will
Yeah.
rage right on camera. But
Well,
that's
good thing we recorded this a little bit after the Dame trade.
mhm.
Yeah.
That just makes me sad.
Uh,
They had it in the bag and they failed. Who did we sign? But at the end of the day, now we've taken Miami and turned it. Jimmy Butler might be the guy for most people, but not anymore. It's Tua Tagovailoa now.
Yeah, Tua's. I mean, he's overtaken Messi at this point.
Yep, he is the icon of Miami. It's not Jimmy Butler anymore. Not now. Not after this. Heat fans are just upset.
Tua is him.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really cool to see. Just after the way that his career started, he was
Mhm.
at. Brian Flores is an actual terrorist for what he did to Tua, and you guys almost sold him for a bag of chips to
Right.
get Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So kudos on your front office for not doing that and actually believing in him. Mike McDaniel, kudos to him for seeing something in Tua and saying, "Hey, I can use my
Right.
strengths to elevate his
Mhm.
strengths."
Yup.
Like-
And here we all
Yeah.
wanted Brian Dable. We're upset when Brian Dable went to New York, got Mike McDaniel. We're like, oh, we'll give this nerd a shot. The
Well,
nerd has
I mean,
revolutionized our
I'll say
culture.
this: Brian Dable still has one playoff win. So until McDaniel passes him, he's got Coach of the Year too. But Connor,
Mhm.
again, thank you. Make sure to tune into the Buffalo Basement tomorrow at is it 7 p.m. Tommy?
7.
7 p.m. with Matt and Patrick.
Mhm.
And then next week we'll be back same time, same place. So go Bills.
Go
Go
Bills.
Thank you
Bills.
for
Go
watching.
Bills.
Guys,
I
for-
will refrain to comment. Fins up.
Fins down.
Hey, no, fins down.
Oh my god.
Roll the outro.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining the show.